There's a star that lights the road. I take this ride. Just drive. I wanna be the only one to make it to the light. I'll take it to the edge where I live 1,000 lives. Maybe I could be the one right into the setting sun tonight. Just drive.
Beyond the realms of the ordinary, some are born with the creative guile to craft the extraordinary. Innovation has always been king. Those that are those that win. Not a flash in the pan, genius in this artistry. The facts speak for themselves.
The magician, Adrian Newey.
Records tell a tale. In this new age of haste and disregard, only the masters will be rewarded.
The guru, the Leonardo da Vinci of Formula One, Adrian Newey. I was absolutely astounded to see him breeze past that Mercedes.
Some are born with the creative guile to craft the extraordinary.
All right, Sebastian, that's quick enough.
Sebastian Vettel, who can just coast home to the checkered flag now because he is back on pole once again, 5 years after he took pole here and became the youngest man ever to do it. It's another Vettel pole, engineered by Newey and the team, the 40th of his career. Can anyone stop him here in Monza at a track where he's won twice in high definition and Dolby surround sound? It's the 2013 Italian Grand Prix. One of the most iconic circuits in the world, the track that has hosted the most Grand Prix in the history of the sport, the passion of the Tifosi here at what is termed the Cathedral of Speed. The Italian fans worship at the Temple of Ferrari. And Fernando Alonso, it's the national team and the support is heavily partisan here in Monza. Hello everybody, good afternoon, welcome to Monza, the 2013 Italian Grand Prix where Red Bull have locked out the front row, the 18th time they've done that in their history. I'm delighted to be joined, as usual, by these three, the holy trinity of Johnny Herbert, Damon Hill and Martin Brundle. But perhaps the biggest story yesterday, apart from Nico Hülkenberg greasing it and putting it in third, was a rumbling of disquiet at Ferrari at their home Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso seemingly not too happy over team radio.
Quindi c'è da lasciarlo passare, veramente siete dei geni, mamma mia ragazzi.
Now the problem here is that the word for genius and the word for moron in Italian is roughly the same. So either way, I mean, we actually had a word with a couple of Italian journalists yesterday who are convinced it was actually morons. Anyway, they've gone with genius. Either way, it's a little bit sarcastic. I don't think the team liked it, Martin. Do you sense there's something going on behind closed doors at Ferrari?
I think he's frustrated. There's no doubt about it. Apparently, a piece of radio that hasn't gone out, I was talking to another Italian journalist I really trust and have known a long time. Apparently, on the other side of the circuit, he did actually call them idiots. But I'm expecting to speak to Domenicali later on to find out a little bit more about this. But, you know, there is no doubt about it. I think Alonso's getting frustrated. His car's reliable, he's driving brilliantly, but the championships are just not coming. He's 32 years old, and he must be looking and thinking, how am I going to win now against Vettel in a Red Bull with Adrian Newey? And I sense, you know, this normally is the man who is always going, I can still win this. We're together. We will still win this championship. You think, you haven't got a prayer now, mate, but...
I think the other thing is, Simon, that you know, he's flexed his muscles. and he's established a view, which is that, as Martin said, he's getting on, he wants to win. How do you do that without offending the team you're with? There's no I in team, but there is in Ferrari, and the I is Fernando Alonso, and he's made it known, and he's had his wings clipped by Luca and said, okay, listen, don't forget, Ferrari comes first.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, he's being typically disruptive. You know, he did it before when he was with McLaren with Lewis, and it cost him quite a lot of money as well. But it's something that, with that disruption that he's doing himself within the team, you could then look at it, right, okay, right, where are you going to go after this? Where would you go? So why not stay at Ferrari in a place that you can possibly build things up? Because outside it, no one else has either.
But, John, if he sees potentially that Kimi Raikkonen is going to join the team, and there's another world champion and he's got to maybe share some victories out with, and would they have him back at McLaren? Could he, you know, why would he go to Lotus? And, he can be quite a divisive character within a team, as you say.
Yeah.
Okay, right, let's just, before we continue this, let's just get an update from Ted, who's had a bit of news elsewhere in the paddock.
Hello, Simon. Yes, what would the Monza race day be without some things going on? And interesting things around Red Bull this morning. First of all, there's a doubt over their gearbox. They had to change the 5th, 6th and 7th gears and dog rings, both on Sebastian Vettel's car and Mark Webber's car before this race. They've been allowed to do that by the FIA, so no penalties. Vettel still starts on pole position. Webber still starts in second. But a little doubt over the gearboxes. Let's watch that throughout the race. Another fascinating little tidbit about Red Bull is that they are going to the Spanish Grand Prix venue of Barcelona, we believe, at the end of this race to perform a 1,000-kilometre Pirelli test. You know, we've been talking throughout the year, haven't we, about Mercedes and their secret test. Well, Red Bull have kept this test pretty secret, haven't they? It's a 1,000 kilometres Pirelli test. The reason they're allowed to do it is that it's actually with the 2011 car, and that's permitted under the regulations. There is a little disquiet annoyance perhaps from the other teams in that what Red Bull are doing is testing not only a control tyre from this year but also the tyres destined for 2014, and the others are saying, well, when are we going to get a chance to test the 2014 tyres as well? Anyway, rumour has it that Daniel Ricciardo is going to be driving that along with Sebastian Buemi. And the final little tidbit from down here concerns what you were talking about with Kimi Raikkonen and Ferrari. Italian media are suggesting that the announcement will be made on Wednesday, that Kimi Raikkonen will be Fernando Alonso's partner at Ferrari in 2014. We will see, and of course we'll have the F1 show to reflect that on Friday. Back to you.
Yeah, rumour mill, if I can pronounce it, is rife at the moment, isn't it? Now, we heard a rumour. This was broken by Mark Hughes, who obviously on Autosport, and also who's tweeting on our behalf at the moment as well, that potentially, maybe, Ross Brawn has bought Toto Wolff's stake in Williams. Think about that. Brawn, Simmons, that fit for you?
No, well, that certainly would be a very strange thing to suggest. When I was racing, you'd never imagine that happening. We were at loggerheads, we were at war with Ross Brawn and Pat Simmons, but now Pat Simmons is there, and Ross knows, but Ross would have to leave Mercedes. Why would he leave Mercedes? You know, and that's, or he could actually own a share in another team, which sounds very strange. So it could be a little bit of conjecture, a bit of naughtiness going on there.
It could be, but didn't you go up and ask Ross Brawn?
I asked Ross Brawn yesterday, and he laughed. And I said, and he said, you can tell from my laugh that I think it's a ridiculous idea. And I'm going, well, I can't actually, because you're very inscrutable, and it could be a very good cover. So we're none the wiser.
All right, none the wiser at the moment. That said, it's a rumour, and we're awash with rumours at the moment, so we'll keep you up to date with what we hear in and around the paddock. Here's what's coming up in the next hour and a half.
I feel like when I'm in the braking zone, it's almost like my vision expands. The barriers that are going past, the bollards that are going past, the braking point, you know, the bumps that are on the track, need to be wary of the car that you're trying to outbrake. Because as soon as they brake, you want to brake like a metre or two later than them. So it's really just having that feel, that sense. You know what it's like.
We come here to win. We come here to be 1-2, and we're not. So, you know, you go away feeling not 100% happy. The old adage is true. I don't know who said it, but they were very clever, that you're as good as your last race. And you just have to keep delivering, and if you don't, then you will get left by the wayside.
I've got so much confidence straight away. What a grip. Unbelievable. Just sticks to the road. Oh, God, how I wish I'd have been able to race this.
Oh, and Hill hits Schumacher, and they both go off.
There was a guy called Taka Inoue, and I went right and Micah went left.
And I'm not sure what happened after that, other than that we both ended up in the gravel.
What I do remember, I remember being behind you and then seeing you go off, and I thought, thanks, mate.
Yeah, we've got a great build-up. We really have to look forward to over the next 90 minutes. The Drivers' Championship looks like this. Sebastian Vettel leads by 46 points with these 8 races to go. Fernando Alonso, his nearest rival, fully aware the next couple of races, the importance of those if he's got a chance to close the gap. There's a further 12-point gap to Lewis Hamilton, 5 more to Kimi Raikkonen, who dropped from 2nd to 4th with his retirement in Spa. Red Bull's lead in the Constructors is 77 points over Mercedes. Ferrari 17 points behind the German manufacturers. McLaren went above Force India after Spa. Here's a look at what happened in qualifying yesterday.
Formula One in Italy means Ferrari, and both the Tifosi and the Ferrari bosses were at Monza, hoping that Fernando Alonso could do something both about Red Bull's championship lead and Mercedes' domination of qualifying. Lewis Hamilton was looking for a 5th successive pole and a repeat of his performance here last year. But the Mercedes man's run would come to an unceremonious halt when he failed to get out of Q2, first running wide at the exit of the Parabolica, and then on his final attempt coming across the Force India of Adrian Sutil at the same corner. Hamilton wasn't the only big casualty not to make it into Q3, as both Lotus drivers failed to progress. Both McLarens and both Toro Rossos did make it through, but all eyes were on the Ferraris of Alonso and Massa, who've been practicing slipstreaming, drafting throughout the weekend. But come the crucial moment, the plan appeared to backfire, as Massa was too far ahead of his team leader.
Okay.
The team's afternoon then got worse when Nico Hülkenberg in the Ferrari engine Sauber pulled a barnstorming effort out of the bag to grab a sensational 3rd place on the grid. Ahead of him, though, was Red Bull, the dominant force of the weekend so far. And Sebastian Vettel celebrated the 5th anniversary of his first ever pole position by taking the 40th of his career, over 2 tenths clear of his teammate Mark Webber. So a first Red Bull Racing front row lockout since the opening event of the season in Australia, ahead of an eye-catching 3rd for Hülkenberg. Alonso has work to do from 5th, but not nearly as much as Raikkonen and Hamilton, way down on row 6th. Paul the rest of 15th, and Adrian Sutil penalised 3 places for that incident with Lewis Hamilton. Caterham's and Marushas are out the back, but after qualifying, the star of the session, Nico Hülkenberg, went through his lap with Anthony Davidson.
We're here to have a look at Nico Hülkenberg's amazing lap to get P3 in qualifying. Nico, awesome job.
Thank you very much.
How did it feel? I mean, you must have hit the window of perfection of tyre temperature really in the sweet spot.
Yeah, everything worked really perfect on this lap. You know, out lap, get the tyre in the right window, and then the lap itself as well. You know, starting here with opening the lap is quite important to get a good exit from Parabolica. Use your 100% of curse here to be as quick over the line as you can.
On DRS as well at this stage.
Get all the settings right, you know, engine braking stuff, because into turn 1 is very easy to lock the rears, and then you're probably gonna, you know, forget the lap already.
Now, we've seen so many cars locking up into this corner here at this point. What was so difficult this weekend about turn 1 on the braking?
Well, basically it is. We have very little downforce on the car compared to normally, so that makes it a bit more difficult. The car is moving more, and, you know, especially for the rear, it's quite light and loose.
Now,
it's different from car to car, but...
I've seen you I'm going to stop it there again, because I've just seen you press this button on the left-hand side. I'll try and stop it at the right moment. This orange button, I'll just highlight it for the guys back at home. Now, what's this button on the steering wheel? Come on, tell us. It's orange button on the left-hand side.
That is a setting for curse, you know, which goes together with managing the brake balance, just to have the right brake balance for turn 1, not to have front or rear lock, to be honest.
So we see a brake bias change before this chicane as well. And once again, you've got this dust ahead of you. Someone's gone off there, just in front.
Well,
put you off or not?
That doesn't influence me. Here, 4th gear. It's been quite a challenging corner. Looks easy, Lesmo 1 and 2, but it's actually not that easy to get them right here as well. Carried good speed through, good exit. Early on the curves again, DRS here.
You had the car dancing so
positive.
well.
It's always nice as a driver when you see your lap time delta, you know, goes positive and you go quicker and quicker. That gives you a good feeling.
And here as well, I'm just going to stop it there, because this has changed a little bit since I last drove here. They've put these curbs on the inside there. You can just see those bollards. And I noticed that you sort of aim for that curb now, but you don't really take too much of it. Is that the plan these days?
Depends. It wasn't intentionally. Ideally, I wanted to be a bit further in on the curb, but
and I thought it was
because I braked quite late, I would just miss that one a little bit, but it didn't cost any time.
and you're in third gear for such a short space of time. You do that just to balance the car as well at the last minute.
Oh, that was okay. That was not a problem.
But a great run, nevertheless, onto the back straight down to Parabolica, using a reference here.
Parabolica, yeah, it's very important here to be, committed and to have the confidence in the car. You see the dust here, but that doesn't put me off either. By here, you fled anyway easily. But here I see already that this was a good lap.
It was something special, I think, yeah, without doubt, the best lap that we saw driven here in Monza. So really good job. And what are your aims for tomorrow? What do you expect?
Yeah, I think we have to be realistic. Obviously, everybody's happy for today, and it's a mega result for us after a very challenging year. For tomorrow, I expect us to race for points. I think that's realistic and possible. I think the podium is a dream, but will be quite difficult tomorrow.
Excellent. Well, good job again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Little and large at the Sky Pad. We'll have to get out of the box next time he does Nico Hülkenberg there. All right, we've got to talk about him and the way, in terms of Ferrari-powered cars, this weekend he's the furthest forward. He's just too good not to be snapped up, isn't he?
He's put a Williams on pole in his career. He's led the Brazilian Grand Prix in a Force India. He's led the Chinese Grand Prix in a Sauber, and here he is on the second row of the grid at Monza. Put the boy in a race-winning car.
Where's he going to go, though? I mean, if you think about what might happen at Sauber, contracts uncertain for next year. We know they've got financial difficulties. Sergei Sorokin looks like he's going to, if he brings the funds, get a drive. They'll probably keep Gutierrez because of the Mexican money. So where's he going to go? I mean, he may be pushed out.
Well, there's always been this sort of suspicion that Sauber are kind of a holding bay for Ferrari. If Kimi's not there, then Hülkenberg might be a very good number 2 there to Alonso, although he wouldn't be called number 2.
Just check behind me, somebody's touching my bottom.
It's not me.
Not again. It's always happening, isn't it? We're actually...
Do I need to be worried?
I think we've got popular. We've actually created a bottleneck in probably the busiest pit lane in Europe. Yeah, sorry, everybody.
A little bit of rain.
Yeah, OK. Yeah. Right, in the meantime, let's get to the track parade, because I think the Ferrari drivers are talking to Natalie.
Quanto sono speciali I tifosi italiani?
Sono molto speciali, sono la gara più bella dell'anno, con tutto quello che ci supportano, e vogliamo dargli indietro qualche soddisfazione oggi.
In bocca al lupo?
Crepi.
Tell us what it's like to be a Ferrari driver driving here in Monza.
Well, I cannot speak Italian.
It's fine to me. English is beautiful.
Silvia.
It's an important race for us, so I hope we can get a good race today for them. I mean, getting all the fans in the main straight would have been fantastic for us, for them, and for Italian race.
And what about for you? How important is it for you to put in a strong performance here? Because we hear from Luca de Montezemolo that the decision will be made about next year in just a few days' time.
Well, a strong performance is important all the time. Not now, but before and after. All the time is important.
Now, Fernando, just tell us a bit about these fans. They are so passionate, aren't they?
Yeah, they are screaming, jumping, T-shirt off. They are, completely passionate about Formula One. They live in the race so emotional way, and they expect from us good performance, and it's time to deliver. 1 hour to go, so we need to concentrate, give the maximum.
So how do you deliver from 4th and 5th today on the grid?
Hopefully we both cars in the podium will be, I think, a nice gift to them, but if we can win the race also, that will be fantastic for all of us. So we will try, as I said, try to win the podium, both cars, and if one of them can win the race, it's something to give something back to them, thanks to the support.
Grazie mille.
Preparations continue here in Italy. That's the podium. Only in Italy. The cleaners are in. They could have come in a bit earlier, couldn't they? I would have thought they would have.
Obviously, the Super Cup boys and the GP2 and GP3 boys made a bit of a mess up there.
Exactly. Let's talk about the Tifosi amongst all this as well. The passionate support here. 4th and 5th isn't bad for Massa and Alonso, is it? I mean, what can they do from there, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it would be easy to look at it and go, Fernando Alonso should be really disappointed he's out-qualified by his teammate. But actually, he was actually saying something quite truthful, which was that this is quite a good qualifying for them. Yeah. So now we're feeling spits of rain. Things are starting to look a little bit more open, I think. We were looking at a Sebastian Vettel kind of walkover here. Maybe that's not going to be the case.
Well, never count out Fernando Alonso, especially here. They say that their strategy worked in qualifying. It can't be right. They're 4th and 5th with Massa ahead of Alonso. But we know how good he is at the start. But, of course, Ferrari, you know, all the other teams, you, as the driver of any other team in Formula 1, you carry the weight of the company and its sponsors. Drive for Ferrari, and you carry the weight of the country and everybody that buys into that incredible team.
Down here, the brollies are at the ready, so there are a few dark clouds around, and I suppose those behind the Red Bulls are praying for a little bit of rain this afternoon. When we come back, we are going to have a masterclass with Lewis Hamilton. A little bit disappointing in qualifying yesterday, but the power of overtaking here, he knows very well indeed.
You don't have my number. We don't need each other now. We don't need the city. The creed or the culture now. I feel love, feel love. I feel love. I feel the streets are pulling me down.
Few famous faces dotted around the paddock at the moment. You might recognise that Argentinian footballer Carlos Tevez. Moved around enough clubs. Maybe he's joining Caterham next year. You never know. There we go. Right, OK, as we were saying, Lewis Hamilton, kind enough yesterday to come to the Sky Pad after a disappointing qualifying. He qualified in 12th, and then afterwards he gave us a masterclass on overtaking with Martin.
Joined by Lewis at the Sky Pad again, but sadly not for pole position this time, Lewis.
No, not this time. Not this time.
Talk us through then. You had an offer, the Parabolica, which really compromised your qualifying quite badly, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this corner is, you know, here you slow down, you try and get on the power as early as possible and onto curves. And because you're still turning, you're trying to have this, you want to get the steering wheel as straight as possible just to not scrub off any speed. And so you're trying to reduce the amount of speed you're scrubbing off by turning. So you're going to try and go as wide as possible, and then it caught the dust, and that was it, and damaged my floor. So,
right. So
after that, the car was fishtailing. It was not balanced like it was before.
OK. So you've now lost an opportunity to qualify, get a hot lap in, and then when you do get a chance, this is where you come across.
I mean, at the end of the day, I should have got the lap done way earlier. You know, I had so many opportunities, and finally got the lap, and then, I mean, I was closing massively on him. And at the end of the day, all us drivers, we tried to get a gap to the car in front, but also you got to manage the behind, and the team have to help you manage that gap behind. I listened to the radio of Adrian's, and they didn't tell him. They told him actually here, so it was their fault as a team. It wasn't Adrian's fault. It was just a coincidence that it was him. You know, but by this point, you know, I turned in, but I get straight under his wake, and then I lose all the downforce, and that was it. So
what we'd like to do today is a masterclass on overtaking, if we may, so we can go through what's going through the driver's mind, the psychology. The first one is you back in 2007. There's graphics at the moment. Now we're going to go on board with you, where you make this incredible move from a long way back.
Back in the day, I remember I got a good drive out the last corner, but they're quicker on the straight that year. So I had to do like the massive lunge, and at this point I just had to go for it. And he braked earlier than me, and then when I look at the replay, I don't feel like I'm going to make it, but somehow I made it. And
because you still somehow get the back end's trying to step out on you. So this one then, the famous one of Vettel around the outside of Alonso. What was your take on that?
This is a difficult corner, turn 3. Well, it's flat out, it's easy, but the natural line is for the guy that's ahead to run out wide to the outside line here. So, you know, obviously at that point he's seen Sebastian in the mirrors, and he could squeeze him out if he wanted to, but obviously he left him room. Sebastian wasn't so kind a year or so later.
Yeah.
You look at the guy in front, you know what kind of driver they are, so from their history, because you're constantly seeing how they drive. So, you know, Fernando would have known that they were obviously fighting for the lead. None of them want to come off, none of them want to collide, but also they don't want to lose positions. But I think, you know, as a driver, you just have to know what the driver in front's going to do.
Now, this is more of a DRS mover, which we're going to presumably see several of tomorrow, of Perez last year against Alonso. And just take us through the feeling of when you've got the DRS open like that and your main rival hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't have the DRS open, you just feel, when you're behind someone, you feel yourself pulling close slowly. But as soon as you open up the DRS, it's like all of a sudden the car becomes free and it starts to accelerate massively quicker. So it's like a shake and bake. It's a slingshot, you know. And then, you know, the RPM difference, and also at that point you can use curves even longer, and so you really get double the boost. It's definitely noticeable. It's good when you're getting the DRS, but it definitely sucks when you're behind, when you're in front of someone and they've got it, because there's nothing you can do to stop them from coming by, you know. And but Fernando's in a Ferrari, and Ferraris are really quick on the straight, so as soon as he pulls out, he knows he's going to lose a little bit of that advantage. I don't know if he gets past here or not, but...
Yeah, he does, yeah. It's quite a simple pass in the end. When you make an attack into the braking zone, what are your reference points? Is it just your car, the side of the track, or are you referencing yourself against the car but alongside you?
I feel like when I'm in the braking zone, it's almost like my vision expands, and you have to really, you really have to pay attention to your peripheral view. So, you know, the barriers, the barriers that are going past, the bollards that are going past, the braking point, you know, the bumps that are on the track, the dark points, and then you also need to be wary of the car that you're trying to outbrake, because as soon as they brake, you want to brake like a meter or two later than them, and so you have to be able to react to them at the same time, because otherwise you just keep going and you're going straight. So so it's really just having that feel, that sense. You know what it's like. It's just about trying to make
risk and reward, basically.
Yeah, trying to make a real balance of it.
Well, we look forward to some of these amazing overtakes tomorrow.
I hope so. Cheers, man. Yes, sir.
Well, he hid his disappointment well. You may notice by my glamorous assistant here that it started to rain here in Italy. Boys, come in if you want. We'll keep you under here, keep you sheltered.
Holding it
I'm
high
sure
enough
you're
for you.
tall enough. Maybe give it to him and you can cover everything. You can hold that for us? Yeah, you just hold that. That'd be great.
Do we trust him?
Yeah.
I don't want to get
Sorry, I
wet.
got distracted there. 60% chance. Lewis is going to like that, isn't he?
Well, I mean, you've got to say it's his only chance from starting back there. Only one time this race has been won from lower than 10th on the grid, don't forget. So, no, I think that he's probably been out the back doing a rain dance.
Yeah, why not? Why not? OK, let's hear from the pole sitter, though, Sebastian Vettel, out there with Natalie.
Congratulations, your 40th career pole. Absolutely incredible achievement. Tell us how you expect things to go today.
Well, we'll see. It's a long race, but the car has been very strong all weekend. Usually this hasn't been the easiest circuit fast, so this year seems to be different. And yeah, I'm enjoying. It's a special place for me, obviously, with the memory I have, especially to 2008. So looking forward to the race.
Yeah, recall that special day for us in 2008. It was incredible, wasn't it? And a bit of rain.
Yeah, I mean, if it rains, I think we have rain tires. So obviously it was a special day, special weekend. To win here with an Italian team is very special. It was not Ferrari, which I think is also very, very special. So, as I said, it ranks very high, and it's one of the best days I had in Formula One. So, every time I come back here, it's for sure all of these emotions coming back.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
We're talking to a couple of people at Mercedes. I think even by their admission, they realise just how dominant that Red Bull has been so far this weekend, and he's proved it yet again.
He's been in a real good groove here all weekend, topping, you know, most of the sessions, if not all of them, and fastest in qualifying. And like he said, this normally was the Achilles heel for Red Bull. They normally didn't have the straight line speed.
What's changed then?
I think they've probably focused on this race and Spa on the low downforce package, knowing that they've got a good car for the remainder of the season. And I think their blown floor is working brilliantly well, and that gives you inherent grip. That when the diffuser works really well, then you can afford to take the wings down.
Will Mark Webber be looking to drive pretty much for himself today and cause maybe a little bit of mischief?
Any difference to normal? No, I don't think so, no.
OK, all right, when we come back, we've got a terrific feature with McLaren and a few of their championship winning cars. A terrific day out, it really was, for three of our crew. Plus, we go behind the scenes with Ferrari.
Spirit and the heart and the passion of the team is fundamentally Italian. It's very Italian, in fact. I'm glad that United didn't get him, to be honest. They would have walked away with it if they'd have had Gareth Bale. It's so rubbish. Serie A.
Ayrton Senna's MP44 chassis number 1. Wait, just the turn into the corner. Just looked absolutely awesome.
Well, understandably, this is the busiest area in the pit lane at the moment, or rather more specifically, the garage of Fernando Alonso. Where are you, Bob? There you are, over there. The Tifosi are out in force, as you'd expect here, fiercely partisan support. But a couple of weeks ago at Spa, Ferrari kind enough to let us go behind the scenes with them.
The summer was very good. When I said, look, I'm not going to the young driver test. Alonso creates, big polemics and against Ferrari, against Pirelli, against the world, Alonso. Kimi was not going, and it's funny.
So you will be at Ferrari next season?
We learned that doing 4 press conferences in a weekend in 3 different languages. 2 of them are not my mother language, and even the Spanish. I'm from the north. I don't speak perfect Spanish. Means that they can be mistakes and they can be misunderstandings. It's difficult, but we need to be together. We need to be united. We need to win this championship.
It's special. Sometimes stop and think about what I'm doing, and it's so special. I leave Italy to play with car, like a child. Played with a little car when I was child, more bigger now. Si è buttato in mezzo alla gente, ha cantato una canzone, trasportato. I love music, rock and roll. F1 is important, the results, but you have to think that we don't save life.
Now start the first race. All the people take the luggage and run until the front desk of the airport. It's a secret. Nobody knows.
Some people take it more seriously than others. Where do you fit into that?
Well, I won, didn't I? So that pretty much gives you the answer.
I let him win. He's an engineer. Some people, some English people, become Italian.
The spirit and the heart and the passion of the team is fundamentally Italian. It's very Italian, in fact. I'm glad that United didn't get him, to be honest. They would have walked away with it if they'd have had Gareth Bale. It's so rubbish, Serie A. It's terrible. I hope this doesn't go out in Italy, because I'm... The problem with them is that from 8 years old, clubs take them on now at 8 years old, and they're children, and they remain children until they're 25, 26. It's the same with the drivers, I mean, what do you do when you've spent all your life from being 6, 8 year old, aiming to get into Formula 1 and be a professional racing driver, and then that doesn't happen, I think it is it's a tough call for young guys at that age.
Excuse me for a while I'm wide-eyed and I'm so damn caught in the middle.
So, Philip, what are you doing today? I do call him Philip, yeah. It's my little pet name for him, Philip. Come on, Philip, do that, Philip.
You want to be the big playboy, huh? Going around with your microphone.
His fame or his, celebrity or whatever you want to call it, I don't see that. You don't with your friends, do you? You see past that. It's sometimes a bit weird when we're out places and then people come up and, they'll ask him for autographs or pictures. You have that first millisecond where you go, what are they doing that for? And they go, oh yeah, because he's a driver. Philip's quite famous in his own right. It's difficult to speak with your heart, to be honest. You can only really speak with your head. You have to deliver, but it's the same in his position, it's the same in my position, it's the same in Fernando Alonso's position, because there's so much pressure and expectation and everything that comes with that you must deliver on a day-to-day basis.
This is my 4th year. It's been really nice to try and immerse yourself into a different culture, and it takes a while as well because my Italian's not as good as it should be. Here we go. Thank you. Buon appetito. Slip in a bit of Italian, Spanish, whatever I can find that comes to my mind. Very small. Piccolo. Grazie. I had to find out who the drivers were before I started.
Every single race that we do is massive pressure.
Challenging from 9th position. It's true that we need to pass some people, but anything can happen. You know, we need to do a good race and get some luck.
We have to think positive and fight. In my mind, there's a podium.
It's lights out and away we go.
Just checking the front wing is fine.
Okay, we'll have a look. He's got Jenson Button in his sights now. Fernando Alonso pops himself up into 4th place. Alonso is after Nico Rosberg. Forget that. Fernando Alonso's ahead of Nico Rosberg. He's on the charge.
You can go quicker. Please go quicker. Good lad. That's a good pass.
Sometimes inside Ferrari is like Italy. Ferrari is a dream for many people.
It's got such a huge following. You go to all the countries and they've got so many fans. And I have to admit, I do feel very proud to work for them. It's just exciting.
Fernando Alonso, a decent charge from 9th on the grid, but yet still finishes a distance behind in 2nd.
We had what you would term is a good race, but, you know, we come here to win. We come here to be 1-2, and we're not. So, you know, you go away feeling not 100% happy. The old adage is true. I don't know who said it, but they were very clever that you're as good as your last race. And you just have to keep delivering, and if you don't, then you will get left by the wayside.
Yeah, great access afforded us by Ferrari a couple of weeks ago. Now, there is something going on underneath Jenson Button's car. I understand that something's going on, a bit of work on the floor. Ted, what can you tell us?
Simon, the floor has been off for the last 15-20 minutes. We believe it's a problem in the KERS battery pack. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mechanics plus underneath the car. Sporting director Sam Michael is just by the left side of it as we look at it. All the celebratory 50 years hats have come off while they try and sort this problem out. It seems that it was discovered fairly late in the process. The pit lane opens in about 16 minutes time. I have every confidence that the McLaren mechanics will be able to fix it in time for Jenson Button to join the race, but fraught moments for them after such a good qualifying session. We'll get confirmation that it's KERS related rather than engine. If it is a KERS battery, they can change that pretty quickly. I'm just getting some word from the team now, but we'll update you as the deadline for the pit lane to open draws even closer. As I say, about 15 minutes to go.
Okay, thanks for the moment. Ted will keep us up to date with that, as he explained. Let's just go back to Ferrari, though. I just wonder, with the way things are going, and we touched on it at the top, didn't we, that titles have slipped away from Fernando Alonso. Is Domenicali under a lot of pressure?
Everyone in Ferrari is under a lot of pressure. It's a really hot seat. Any position in Ferrari, as your piece clearly demonstrated, this is a national team. I suppose the only thing you compare it to is maybe Manchester United, but it's not quite that. This is the embodiment in motorsport terms of Italy. So the whole nation demands success, and the pressure on them and everyone in the team is huge.
Yeah, I mean, you noticed, you were saying that Alonso stepped over a mark, as you were saying. You've noticed, you think he's had his ears clipped. Luca de Montezemolo has said that as well. Is it the right thing to do, and how will that affect him? You know, the top boy, he thinks it's his team, doesn't he?
Well, I have to say, as a driver, I think it's perfectly justifiable to express your dissatisfaction with your equipment. And I don't think a driver should be told, you know, don't blame the equipment. You know, if you want to win, then you have to put pressure on someone. So the pressure goes around. Alonso's done that, but maybe he's overdone the statement. And I think he's upset people. And Luca is saying, listen, you've got to remember, we're paying you to do a job. Right, don't insult the team. So he's a bit embarrassed, I think, at the moment.
Okay, let's go back to Ted. Ted, can you update us again?
Yeah, Simon, just down here with Sam Michael. Sam, what are we looking at here?
We've got a problem with the fuel system on Jenson's car, and the guys are flat out fixing that. It didn't go wrong until this morning during the fire up. So it's a very complicated system, the fuel system in Formula 1 cars. So the mechanics have been flat out trying to fix it, and it's looking very tight to get out of the pit lane. We've got 30 minutes left, and during that time, we've obviously got to get over 150 kilos of fuel in the car, of which we can't start that process yet. So we'll know pretty much in the next 10 or 15 minutes where we're going to make the pit lane opening. If we're not, then we're starting from the pit lane, and that's another 15 minutes on top of that, and then that's it. So we're flat out trying to do that.
How long would the change normally take the guys?
This is something that you normally do overnight.
But it would normally take significantly longer than 30 minutes.
Exactly.
Oh dear. Okay. Thank you very much, Sam, for clearing that up. Not a KERS issue then. Fuel system, and you heard the deadline that the McLaren boys are working to there.
Yeah, I think Button had the same problem here last year, didn't he? 50 years old, not a terrific start to their birthday weekend. We were just talking about McLaren, though, and being that it's their anniversary, 12 drivers' titles to their name, 8 constructors as well. And, yeah, we had a fantastic opportunity for 3 of our guys to have a day they'll never forget early this summer.
Since the McLaren first rolled off the production line in 1963, they have won 12 drivers and 8 constructors' titles.
James Hunt, who takes the checkered flag.
Ayrton Senna, the new world champion.
Here is the flying V. It's been a magnificent season for McLaren.
Lewis Hamilton is the world champion.
These are some of the most astonishing examples of that pedigree.
This is Ayrton Senna's 1988 World Championship winning McLaren MP44, one of the world's most iconic racing cars.
And this little beauty is Mika Häkkinen's championship winning car in 1998, the MP413.
And from 10 years later, the MP423, the car that would take Lewis Hamilton to a magnificent World Championship in Brazil.
Here we go. Ayrton Senna's MP44, chassis number 1, the car that Ayrton Senna drove and became world champion in.
OK, let's go through the stats we all know. The most dominant car in Grand Prix history, 15 wins from 16 races, manual gearbox, 1,200 brake horsepower. That's 450 more than today.
And the boost comes in, the car goes off like a rocket. You get a lovely soft noise that it makes when you open the throttle.
As an aspiring Grand Prix driver in '88, Ayrton Senna in the MP44 left an indelible impression on my mind. It was in this car that Ayrton Senna defined himself as something unique in motorsport history, as an almost supernatural talent.
That is an experience I'll remember for the rest of my days. Thank you very much, McLaren. This is truly one of the greats, Damon. I can see that this has the DNA. The MP44.
10 years after Senna claimed his first world title and McLaren's 4th, Mika Häkkinen drove this MP413 to his first of 2 world titles.
And the right-hander now, Chapel coming onto the... Oh, yeah, into the power. Down the hanger straight.
Back in '98, I was in a Sauber, struggling in the midfield, whilst Mika was up the front claiming 8 wins from 16 races. That was the first McLaren designed by Adrian Newey, and it really showed.
Wait, it's the turn into the corner. Just looked absolutely awesome.
In 1999, they continued with this winning formula as Häkkinen claimed his 2nd world title.
Oh, how sweet is this?
I'm really jealous of Johnny and Damon driving those beautiful old cars, so special in their own ways. But I've got a car that's altogether faster from a much more modern era.
This is the MP423 that steered Lewis Hamilton to his 2008 world title, including a magnificent victory here at Silverstone.
I've got so much confidence straight away. What a grip. Unbelievable. Just sticks to the road. Oh, God, how I wish I'd have been able to race this.
It may not have won the Constructors' title, but any car that claims the Drivers' title must be very special. And this was the last championship-winning McLaren.
It's the best car I've ever driven, Des. That was unbelievable. It looks like we got some company.
Love the cars from the 70s.
Up through the gears, very bumpy through here, car moving around a bit. It's not made for someone that's 6 foot. It's made for Emerson Fittipaldi. Through Beckett's, a little bit of rear movement there, but mostly understeer, because you've got these massive rear tyres.
Well, boys, that was quite a privilege, wasn't it, to drive these iconic cars?
Yeah, amazing experience. I mean, Emerson Fittipaldi's 74 car, it's different to what we're driving these days, but such an experience for me with the H-pattern gearbox.
What about this one? You have to take your hand off and you've got the turbo boost coming in. I mean, it's just an awesome device. I mean, it's so dominant. Yeah. What an amazing car. Driving that 9J is just how quick. When you turn the steering wheel, it sort of shoots in. It's unbelievable, the speed.
You get to this 2008 car, which is just a dream. It's like an extension of your mind and your body. You press the pedals, you turn the steering wheel. It wants to do what you want to do. Damon, you were the arch enemy of McLaren.
I know, I feel like a complete traitor. I mean, yeah, I'm now, you know, driven a McLaren. I mean, sorry, Frank, is all I can say.
This is one from every decade. There are obviously world championships in between, but if they were all here, it'd be down to the end of the pit lane.
It's been a great privilege, hasn't it, to drive these cars?
Very special day.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Just looked absolutely awesome. It really did look absolutely awesome. You were saying that was the best car that you've ever driven, and you've driven the RB7 very recently.
It was pouring with rain that day, and mind you, that still got enough grip after 30 laps to make my neck go a bit wobbly. But of course, back in 2008, they had so many bits and pieces hanging off the side, and they were ugly cars, but they had so much incredible downforce. And I drove out of the pits, first time through Copse and Beckett's in 6th gear, then I just took 7th for the next few laps, because it just gave you this incredible confidence. But I'm sure if you were within a half a second of the pace, it starts sliding around, you'd be coming in bitching about it.
Now, Champ, you got Senna's, didn't you? And I heard on the grapevine that you were a little bit, shall we say, reticent. You didn't want to damage it.
Oh, my God. I mean, this car is like, you know, it is the epitome. When I was wanting to be a racing driver, wanted to be a Formula 1 driver, that was it. You know, Ayrton Senna, Alain Prost raced that car and won every race but one. We were very lucky boys, weren't we?
An hour after we'd finished filming, he stood at the front of that car, sort of almost kissing it and touching it.
I sent you an email to Alain Prost to say, I can't believe it, I drove the same car that you were driving in '88. I mean, I'm totally tickled pink by that.
And in the meantime, you were just ragging it.
Well, of course, Mika Hakkinen was driving it, so it was flat out. So I had to go flat out as well. So it was, but again, it was just a wonderful experience for all of us to have a go sort of the decades of cars that were around.
Well, in case you thought it was going to be a one-man show, as you can see by the brollies, it's actually coming down reasonably heavily at the moment. There's clouds around, there's blue sky as well, and outside McLaren here, well, it's all hands to the pump. Jenson Button, it seems, looks likely he might well be starting from the pit lane because of that issue with fueling. He had one last year, he had to retire on lap 32 because of a fuel pump issue. Now, when we come back, these two, very successful round here. In fact, 3 titles between them. We're going to take it for a trip down memory lane.
Oh, and Hill hits Schumacher, and they both go off. Amazing.
There was a guy called Taka Inoue, and I went right and Micah went left. And I'm not sure what happened after that, other than we both ended up in the gravel.
What I do remember, my memory is quite clear. I remember being behind you and then seeing you go off, and I thought, thanks, mate.
Just over half an hour till lights out and the crowds in the stands building now. So too is the atmosphere, which round here is unlike any other. So let's take you through the grid then, from back to front, as always. Guido van der Garde pretty happy with his performance ahead of his teammate and both of the Marussias, but Adrian Sutil, for impeding Lewis Hamilton, took a 3-place grid penalty. Further forward in the story of Q2 was that both Lotuses, very, very disappointing, had a good Friday. They didn't have a good Saturday. Also, Lewis Hamilton, having stuck it on pole 4 times in a row, could only manage 12th. Had only himself to blame, he said. OK, inside the top 10, both of the Toro Rossos going well. Jenson Button, as we said, has got that problem. It looks likely that he may well start in the pit lane. Sergio Perez qualifying ahead of his teammate Daniel Ricciardo, proving he might have what it takes to make this step up to Red Bull. In sixth, Nico Rosberg well ahead of his teammate Fernando Alonso. Well, the issue with the towing didn't quite work out for him, and so Felipe Massa starts ahead of him in fourth. Alonso in fifth, Nico Hülkenberg with one of the drives of his career in qualifying in third, and it is the 18th front row lockout for the Red Bulls. Let's hear from Stefano Domenicali. He's talking with Martin.
Stefano, first of all, we have to talk about qualifying with the attempt to get the slipstreaming in the tows. We heard the radio. It seems as if Fernando was a little bit sarcastic and maybe on the other side of the track saying some negative things. What's the truth of this matter, please?
No, the truth of the fact that, as you know, when you are there, you try to maximize the result. And the worry that Fernando had in that particular moment was not to be the tow for Rosberg. That's the truth, and full stop, and nothing more than that. But honestly, that story was a little bit exaggerated because you've been in the paddock yesterday afternoon. It was nothing special, to be honest.
A lot of talk about some kind of announcement or meeting on Wednesday for the team to talk about drivers and maybe Kimi Raikkonen joining this team. Is that possible?
I don't know if it's Wednesday or not, but for sure we need to sit down with our chairman in the next couple of days in order to finalize the choice for next year. I mean, there are a lot of options on the table, to be honest, as you know, and you know, there's nothing that I can add on top of that because we need to wait and see and hopefully taking the right decision.
Moving to today, fourth and fifth on the grid. It's raining reasonably hard at the moment. The track's going to be fairly treacherous. Is this what you needed? Is it what you're hoping for?
Good question, Martin. I don't know. I mean, sometimes this could be the condition there you can do something better, or these are the conditions that you can lose certain opportunities. I really don't know. I mean, it seems that the weather will be very changeable. And so that's another thing on top of the normal stress of the Italian Grand Prix.
Did you do anything with the setup of the car, considering it might rain? Everybody's been talking about rain this week, or is it purely dry setup?
I definitely think it's a dry setup.
Yeah, so the cars are going to be quite tricky to drive, aren't they?
I think so, but I'm expecting for all of them, for all the drivers that are on the track. Thank you.
Well, changeable is the word, Anthony Davidson, because we're down here in a different part of the circuit as the pit lane opens, and then the rain's starting to ease off. What would you be going to the grid on? Everyone's been on inters so far.
Yeah, it's definitely intermediate conditions, so that's the tyre of choice at the moment for all the drivers. I'd be in the same situation or mind frame as well. So, no, we see another car just coming down as well. This Hülkenberg, yeah, he's on the inters too.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Let's talk about wet weather strategy first of all, as we see the Sauber just came out. No sign of Jenson Button yet, so it looks like the McLaren guys were making good progress with the fuel system fix on his car, but we'll see if they make it. They've got another, well, it's going to be pretty tight. They've got another 10 or 12 minutes left. If it was wet, we're still thinking one stop for weather. If it was dry, it's only a one-stop race for dry tyres, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be pushed towards a one-stopper anyway because of the new regulation. The slower pit lane speed limit naturally pushes them. You want to push it to one-stop. You want to reduce the time spent on this very area of the track. But what we saw in Spa, if it is in those intermediate conditions, the tyres are very, very fragile. So I'm guessing there's going to be definitely more than a two-stopper on intermediates.
Yeah, OK, if it is dry, a one-stop is about 10 seconds quicker than a two-stop. But if this weather continues, I think we're going to have at least two, maybe even three stops, and could be even more. Interesting race ahead.
It is, and McLaren just outside the motorhome remaining positive that Jenson could get there and make the grid. So, yeah, things changing all the moment. Yeah, on his way out. So, looks like he could make it to the grid and start from ninth. Now, as I was saying before the break, these two were very, very successful round here. In fact, between the years 1993 and 1995, no one else won here in Monza, just these two. So last night we sent the Chuckle brothers out on their mopeds for a trip down memory lane.
Sterling Moss in a Maserati won the event and the trophy.
We're just going to tour around the circuit.
This is one of the fastest tracks in the world. The first lap is agonizingly tense, but with so much at stake, the fight is on right from the start. And this brings disaster. He'll lead the diminished field. Ahead of him lies the prize of prizes, the championship of the world.
It's absolutely amazing. I think it's 20 years ago since I won here in Monza. It's just an amazing place. I mean, the fans, the atmosphere of Monza, you just don't forget it. Lives with you forever. Oh, my God. Look out.
I'm ready to do our lap, matey boys. Here, hop on the back. Hop on the back.
No. Oh, on the back. I'm driving. Come on, know your place.
Please.
Come on.
Can't
You know the rules.
Again. I know the rules.
I gotta take control. I can't help it.
I've got to follow Hill again.
See you later. Here we are, first chicane.
Yeah.
It's all a bit different, isn't it?
Slightly. I don't like this one at all. Remember that old one? It was a left to right.
Yes, it had very high curves.
They were. They used to fly over those. Absolutely adored. It's about here, wasn't it? Roughly.
Yeah.
It went left.
You could
right.
really thread the car through it, couldn't you, and get a good exit.
Well, I remember threading the car round the outside of you, actually, back in '94.
How on earth did we manage to win the Monza Grand Prix? I seem to remember a lot of offs. Trying to get everyone through this first chicane was always going to end in disaster. And there was one time when they put tyres on the chicane.
Especially on the exit.
Yeah. And I completely made a total pig's ear of that one year.
Yes.
Come on, let's have a look at the other bits of the track.
Take me down.
And the implacable rivals, Schumacher and Hill, are now up with Taki Inouye. And Hill hits Schumacher, they both go off! Amazing!
There was a guy called Taka Inouye, and I went right and Michael went left. And I'm not sure what happened after that. We both ended up in the gravel.
What I do remember, my memory's quite clear. I remember being behind you and then seeing you go off, and I thought, thanks, mate.
It's not the first time, it's the second time now. I'm in front of Damon, and he took away the possibility for me to extend the lead.
And then I come across Michael, who's doing sort of 0 miles an hour in the middle of the chicane.
I remember one year we had Sylvester Stallone that came along, sat in my car. He said, so, you get in the car and you go into the corners feet first, like, you know.
Yeah, who was that?
That was him.
Okay.
It was like, you know.
So here we are, coming to the second Lesmo, Johnny. What happened here?
Yeah, 97, Sauber. I remember there was something rattling around in the footwell, and as I came in to brake, it didn't actually brake, it actually accelerated, and I shot across the gravel and went into the tyre wall, and I remember fiddling around trying to see what the hell it was, and it was a pair of pliers.
It's just silly having something, you know, like a pair of spanners sticking in the footwell. They shouldn't be there.
I finally got half of Monza flat, but it was on a Vespa.
No, I know. Well, at least you finally achieved it.
But when you came past here, you'd be doing nearly, what, 300 kilometres an hour almost on the exit of the Parabolica.
And Johnny Herbert wins the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, and out comes the fist of victory and delight.
But I do remember 95 for me, heading towards that checkered flag just up in front. Absolutely a lovely feeling.
Yeah, and that meant you were on the top step of the podium.
The old podium.
At Monza.
You got it.
No
Brilliant.
greater feeling.
He waves his hand, and Damon Hill wins in Italy.
I was almost in tears before I crossed the line. It was just brilliant.
You know, watching that, I was struck by something. I think it's a similarity, really. Have we got the photo? Please, can you answer the question, which is dumb and which is dumber?
You are not funny, buddy boy. I think I'm the one with the funny teeth.
We redeemed ourselves.
We did redeem ourselves, definitely.
You missed the high five. You missed the high five. I know. They went all the way to Aspen on a podium. You only had to go around Monza. Right, enough hilarity. Let's get out onto the grid. Martin Brundle's there, ready for his grid walk.
Autodromo di Monza, la pista magica, call it what you like, it's Monza, and it is definitely incredibly slippery on these lines that are across the track, and something that Sebastian Vettel on pole position will be running over pretty quickly. If you look down here, he's got this checkered, sort of 2 lines of checkered paint, and this slippery yellow line, followed by another red line that he's going to spin his wheels up. It is incredibly slippery, there's no doubt about that. I would imagine I'm going to be about as welcome as a toothache on a wet Monday morning, talking to the drivers today. They've prepared themselves in dry conditions, and this has just happened. It's not wet, It's not dry, it's that horrible slimy in-between 600-metre run down to the first corner, so they'll get a fair lick of speed on down there. Now, one thing we are missing on the grid at the moment is any cars. Nobody's come round, but that's because they're doing practice starts. We've got a Williams down there at the moment. They're just desperately trying to find some kind of clutch bite point and understanding of their start map, because how are they going to get off the line? So they're going through the pits a lot more than normal, and the procedures are changing. Of course, they're in parc fermé conditions, so they really can't change too much, apart from the brake duct tape and the radiator tape. So they can't change the setup of the car as you normally would do, given this opportunity. So Mark Webber's slot is here, as the boys now are pushing him down. That's Vettel's car, actually, coming down there to stick it on pole position. And let's just have a quick word with Max. Max, no, are we not allowed to talk to you? Okay, cool, good stuff. Max is not authorised to talk to the media, so let's go and let's at least talk tyres while we're waiting for any sign of some racing cars. Wow, they're getting late onto the grid, so we'll have a quick word with Paul Hembry here, if we may. Paul, sorry to interrupt that conversation. Right, this is altogether new, isn't it? They haven't been out on the Inters at all, and this is quite a challenge.
I think it is as well. People have been telling me there's certain parts of the circuit that's still quite wet, although it's drying quickly. So we've got another 20 minutes to go. If it carries on like this, I still think they're on the slicks.
Have you any idea what the changeover point is between slicks and Inters and wets?
That's a tough one, because, as you say, we haven't run here. It's probably about 10 seconds from the dry time from our estimations. It's marginal, though. I'm pretty sure if it stays and doesn't rain anymore, we'll be starting on the slicks.
So, it's just spitting gently at the moment, but you think, because the water tends to stay under the trees at the Lesmo corners now, doesn't it? It's a long time, although there's plenty of heat I can feel coming up from the tarmac.
Yeah, somebody just texted me, actually. They're watching at Lesmo, and they just said it's still a bit wet over there. You're right. But you have to drive around that. You know, it's a small part of the circuit. Take care. You know, someone with experience will know that. Maybe some of the younger ones might be a bit exuberant, but if we're looking as we are here, it's certainly starting on slick.
OK, well, what we'll do here is we'll just follow Mark Webber's car as he's shooing people out of the way. Follow Mark down to his grid slot at the front of the grid and see what we can find. He's going to be getting out of the car, talking to his engineer, so I don't imagine that he's a chatting victim today. And then Nico Hülkenberg, with his brilliant performance, coming in for his grid slot. And here he comes now, pushing him in. These things have no lock. They're the opposite to a London taxi. They have no lock on them whatsoever, because the front tyres are so fat and the suspension geometry means that they're actually not that easy just to change direction like that and stick them into the box. So let's just go and watch what the procedure is. He's come to the grid on slick tyres then, which is interesting. And Gary, are you able to talk to us? Are you able to talk to us?
Only in general terms, but yes.
OK, I just want to talk to you about the white line situation, because before here they could run wide at the Ascari chicane and all that. Has that been closed down now? Because it confuses the fans when sometimes drivers can and can't run off the track.
A car can leave the track, that's very clear, but if you rejoin it, you can only do it if it's safe and if you don't gain an advantage. So it's OK to leave the track, but when you rejoin it, you can't gain an advantage.
But if they're doing it consistently and therefore gaining time?
If they're gaining time and gaining an advantage, that's a breach of the rules.
Good stuff, thank you. And that was Gary Connolly. He's the chief steward, so he's the man that's got to make the calls, along with Danny Sullivan is another steward, and Nico. So, you ready for me?
Ready for?
How's the track? You came round on slicks. Is it possible to start on slicks?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fully dry everywhere. It was just here the Parabolica area and start and finish where it was drizzling, but now even that is pretty much dry. So if it doesn't rain again, it will be for sure slicks.
Putting your feet on the curbs, on the paint, is incredibly slippery. I guess people are going to have to be really cautious in those areas of the track you'd normally go and use.
Yeah, like I said, I think everywhere it's a bit dry. Just the exit of Ascari and exit of Parabolica, you got to be a bit careful.
So no shocks out there at all. Brilliant qualifying performance, and a few points in the race, or can you race these bandits?
No, I think that would be a bit, over the top. We try, but I don't think that's realistic. I think there's a few quick cars behind which we have to look out for, you know. But I definitely think that there's points in it for us today.
Good stuff. Thank you. So, Nico Hulkenberg, he always impresses me just how calm and mature he is. You know, we sometimes say these young drivers haven't had a chance to grow up because they've been racing drivers since they were 4 or 5 years old. And he just strikes me as an adult when you talk to him, when you see him at airports, when you just generally have conversations with him. And surely he's a man that if Ferrari are making decisions this week, they've got to have him. I think if they don't take Raikkonen, I believe they might well put Hulkenberg in that car. And they've not absolutely counted out keeping Massa in there as well. Right, let's have a little wander down, see who we can find. John Todd there. John, can we have a quick word? So you've got a challenger now for the presidency of the FIA. Is that exciting for you? Is that daunting for you?
No, you know, I mean, I don't have any problem. I'm quite happy about the things that have evolved over the last year, and it's still a lot to be done with a fantastic community, great people, and if they want to choose me in December, I will be happy to go along.
So it's a really tough job and with no pay. Why would anybody want to do it? And lots of politics.
I think, you know, in your life, if you have had some success, you need to give some return. And I'm involved with a lot of charity organization on medical research, and definitely where I got my success was through automotive and motorsport, and as long as people do support me, I will do as much as I can for our community.
Good stuff, thank you. So let's have a little wander down, see if we can find, I believe Nico Rosberg is on the grid. Look at this, it looks like everybody's on the grid today. And we've got Hulkenberg there, yeah, you can barely see the cars. Absolutely spectacular. Here comes then Felipe Massa, look, trying to guide his Ferrari past us, basically. Everybody else has moved out of the way. They put that sort of wet towel on the side. I think that's where the exhausts get a little bit close to the bodywork, so they get a load of heat soak on that. Can you see that there, Bob? And a lot of heat soak, such that it's a fairly basic solution, isn't it? Throw a wet towel on the side of your Ferrari. So Felipe then out of the car. Interesting that Nico Hulkenberg was absolutely sure that it's slick tyres. Right, let's try finally then Mark Webber, I think, and see if we can get anything from there. Here's a lady. Here's a mum to be that I haven't seen on the grid before. Zara, great to see you. Hello, Sir Jackie. So, you've been on the grid. I haven't seen you on the grid, but you must have been around here.
I've been on a couple of times with Sir Jackie, but I haven't been for a while.
Exciting, isn't it? Wait, this rain, Jackie, is just what we need, to be honest. Otherwise, Red Bull are going to run and hide.
You know as well as I do, the trouble here is Lesmo was under trees, and a couple of other corners are under trees, so you can get it dry out here and wet over there. That's going to be the difficulty, but I think it's going to stay dry.
What about your team, Lotus? Do you think they can come through? They had an awful quali, didn't they?
They were disappointing in qualifying. They should have done better. Kimi's pretty head, you know, he knows what he's about. I think he'll come through.
And Zara...
Not for the wet, though, are they?
No, I don't think so. No, we're told. Hulkenberg says, no, it's a dry track. We'll be starting on 6. But so finally, Zara, who are you cheering for? Who do you want to win this race?
I would like Mark. I would like Mark Webber to win.
Okay, good stuff. Back to you.
Our dedicated coverage lets you watch F1 like never before. On TV, press the red button to access our interactive options, including onboards and extra team radio on the Pits channel. On the iPad, our companion app allows you to customise your viewing experience. Online, all these features can be found, as well as exclusive on-demand video. And you can join the conversation on Twitter with the Sky Sports F1 team.
Bernie Ecclestone, a lot on his plates at the moment, sorting out the calendar for 2014. He says it will be, might even be 22 races. He's not ruling out New Jersey yet. In the meantime, let's hear from the man that Zara Phillips wants to win, Mark Webber.
So, Mark, how do you see it going today?
Yeah, it looks all right at the moment. Track's pretty much 85% dry, so as long as we don't get another little shower through, then I think most people will start on slicks. Yeah, and then we'll see how the strategy goes from there. So it's so unusual these days on the Pirellis to really predict how the race is going to unfold, but dry race, we should have a smooth afternoon of it.
Enjoy your day.
Cheers.
If he can get his start right, he would be a popular winner, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would do, and I think it's something that he wants to end, this Formula One career on a high, and this is the opportunity that he's got, being so close to Seb.
I hope that Mark's got a chance to race, and it'd be great if he did put in a challenge there for Sebastian.
Yeah, difficult afternoon in store for Lotus. Here's Eric Boulier.
As your driver walks past us, Eric, how do you rate his chances today?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, on paper, the pace should be good enough to get back some position and finish in the good points, but with the weather, we don't know.
Well, 11th and 13th certainly slightly disappointing for you guys yesterday.
Yes, it is. It's not obviously what we are expecting, especially after Friday pace, so we're still investigating why. I mean, we lack of grip yesterday, car balance was not good, and obviously here we just play with stance and maybe closer than anywhere else, so obviously it's costed us a loss.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Speed in a straight line is Lotus's problem this weekend. It's certainly not his. In fact, in qualifying 1, 2 and 3, he was quickest in every sector. So, yeah, I mean, he is the man to beat today. Obviously, Sebastian Vettel is the man to beat. We haven't discussed the Toro Rosso drivers as well. They seem to have got their gear ratios right, and Daniel Ricciardo is on a high at the moment.
Yeah, straight line speed looked very good. So I think they're going to try and use that to its full potential come here. It's very important this time of year for drivers, even mentally, for the coming season. Jean-Eric Vergne, for example, there in 10th, is going to try and use this race and the coming races to actually get some real good results after his teammate Daniel Ricciardo has actually moved on to Red Bull. So Jean-Eric, this is going to be a very important one for him.
Yeah, he's not done within the Red Bull family, is he, Jean-Eric Vergne? They still rate him very highly.
No, I think they spotted talent. He's still quite young. I mean, they spot talent, and that talent doesn't disappear. What happens is you grow as a driver and you get confidence, and that maybe hasn't happened yet with Jean-Eric.
Yep, Jenson Button is out there, confirmed. He's out on the grid, starts from 9th, just behind Sergio Perez. Yeah, it is their 50th anniversary. We've said that. McLaren are showing signs that they're not giving up. They've always said their mantra is to win races.
Exactly. Not going to happen this year, sadly. But I have to say, from where they started, at the beginning of the season, it was like, well, there was absolutely no chance of getting in the top 10. So it's good to see them both there. And you never know, if they get a good start, they could be in the right position to get those good points.
There's no rain detected in the path of the circuit at the moment, and other drivers being interviewed on the TV are saying it's dry.
Yeah, confirmation there, dry, at least 80% dry. Talk about the treachery of the curbs, though, yeah, you get a wheel on there. Obviously, water doesn't go through paint.
Yeah, but Simon, it just spat. It didn't rain hard enough. It needs to rain hard to fill up those curb. To make them really treacherous.
Yeah, well, again, we've been here in the back of the pits here, for 15 minutes, and it's totally dry now. So it's really drying out very quickly, and there's no concern, I'm sure. So it'd be slicks.
Rosberg flag up there. He starts from 6th. He's had a slightly quiet time of things recently compared with his teammate Lewis Hamilton. Oh, there's the Hoff. Oh, that's the Hoff talking to Bernie Ecclestone. That's a collector's item, that is. What's he saying? Yeah, you were good in Baywatch. You really were. I would have liked to see Bernie in his Speedos. Maybe not.
Yeah, well, they've got a lot in common, haven't they? Yeah, Bernie, I'm trying to think now. What have they got in common? They both have a TV show, is actually what they have in common.
Okay, Felipe Massa for Ferrari. I mean, today, does he help his teammate out? I mean, if he's got wind of perhaps that he's not going to have a seat next year, why would he help Fernando Alonso out today?
I totally agree. I think it's a situation of the feeling that he must have within the team if he is going to stop or not. This is the opportunity for him to get a good result out of it.
Could be a bit of a loose cannon.
He could be indeed.
Okay, boys, it is crunch time again as far as you're concerned. Pick me a winner, please, this afternoon.
Right, well, I'm picking Alonso.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Mark. It would be beautiful to see Mark get that win.
It would be beautiful indeed. There we go. Thanks, boys. We're just about set then. Should have a thrilling race in store. What can Lewis Hamilton do from 12th? The Lotus got a lot of ground to make up, but everyone chasing Sebastian Vettel in a car designed by a modern master.
Beyond the realms of the ordinary, some are born with the creative guile to craft the extraordinary. Innovation has always been king. Those that are those that win. Not a flash in the pan, genius in this artistry. The facts speak for themselves.
The magician, Adrian Newey.
Records tell a tale. In this new age of haste and disregard, only the masters will be rewarded.
The guru, the Leonardo da Vinci of Formula One, Adrian Newey. I was absolutely astounded to see him breeze past that Mercedes.
Can anyone catch this masterpiece?